Hi everyone, I'm Rochelle Clausen.
And I'm Nicole Trombley. We're from Anatomyscapes. And in this issue of Massage and Bodywork magazine, the Anatomy for Touch column is covering the trapezius muscle. We are untrapping the traps.
Do you ever get tired about studying anatomy based on insertion, origin, innervation, and action? Well, we think there's another way to study anatomy.
We decided to take a massage therapist's hands point of view and also look at the trapezius from the perspective of where it anchors and where it glides.
Tissue relationships are so important to us as massage therapists because that's what we're palpating in our clients every day. So enjoy this video as we discuss the trapezius a little bit further. And then after that, don't forget to go to abmp.com/anatomy for more digital extras from us. See you next time. The traps, going beyond the basics. Why do we say going beyond the basics? Well, there's one part of anatomy that is often omitted from basic anatomy training, like especially when you are a hands-on body worker. Most people have studied muscle charts a lot, and muscle charts give us a great story of what lies beneath the surface, but it's not the whole story. And that whole story includes something called the connective tissue system, which obscures all the muscles. So there's a reason that you're not seeing them, but it is an incomplete story because without the connective tissue system in place, you don't even have a framework as to how it is that the muscles work, because no muscle fiber is ever directly pulling on a bone. So that's the story we're going to talk a little bit more about today. Right. So into our topic, the trapezius. Ta-da. So you're first probably noticing the image. Should we talk about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's stunning. I love this one.
Freaking love this image. So no, it's not as clear of a like, oh, that's a muscle chart, because it's actually, this is a real picture that we took in the lab of the traps after we had removed the skin and the subcutis. Now, the subcutis has different connections to the spine where it's more strongly adherent right along the central line of our front and the central line of our back, which is why you see so much yellow here. But I just loved artistically, like how this looks like this flame, right?
Yeah.
That's a flame of yellow that's like reaching up into a lavender sky. Well, the lavender sky is the trapezius, and you can recognize it by its V shape as it comes down towards the central line of the spine and then up again. So we have two, it's a paired muscle. And it's overlying the latissimus dorsi. So that's what you see as this pink tissue. That's the muscle of the latissimus dorsi. This is the flat tendon of the latissimus dorsi, and the same on the left side. There's an asymmetry here because why? Most of us are not perfectly symmetrical. And this actual donor had a really extreme asymmetry with a pretty severe scoliosis. Remember?
Yeah.
And so
absolutely.
her spine actually curved quite a bit to the right. And you can almost perceive that, if you can see, coming up through that middle of the yellow flame, and then it dives off to the right. And that curve to the right was even more so. And probably as a result of that, her lats even had an asymmetry to it that made the muscle, perhaps, I'm speculatory, right, that the muscle and tendon relationship and development was slightly different as well. All right, so the traps are superficial back, neck, and shoulder muscle, a big muscle with a bigger story. Take it away, Nicole.
Okay.
This is too cute.
Okay.
I haven't even seen this yet. I love it.
So we were trying to figure this out. And we're like, well, what if traps had a resume? Because if you look at the trapezius muscles, the classic actions, origins, and insertions, it's a really long list. This muscle has attachments all throughout the neck, back, shoulders, to the skull, to the spine. It's extensive. And so we're thinking in terms of like, oh my gosh, if it had a resume, it would just be so long. And then we kept finding more things that needed to go on its resume. So if Trapezius was applying for a job, its resume would have a long list of all the actions, origins, and insertions that we all work hard to study in school. But there's always more to the story.
Can we just look for a second? So some of the actions, you're so adorable. Shoulder blade, retract, elevate, lift, and rotate. Collarbone, lift, rotate, backward. Shoulder shrugging, breathing, anti-bobblehead control, gaze stabilizer, and walking. And we'll actually talk about some of those things today. And if you've read the zine, you already know something about those. But I think my favorite is that rhomboid's reference is that it works well with others. And that the cranial nerve says that it's also very sensitive to its surroundings. So that's pretty fun. All right. So yeah.
So what is Trapezius's backstory? So yeah, so now we have to check, he applied for the job, or it applied for the job, and now we need to check its references and find out what its backstory is. And we put it in quotes because
it's a pun. It's fun.
Pun
it's
intended.
A good pun.
So Trapezius seems like a great candidate for the job, but it's time to check its references and make sure it's a team player. And we're going to explore the rest of its story. And we've highlighted over here on its resume. Does it anchor? Does it glide?
Well, the good news is it does both. So today we're going to talk about this backstory and find out exactly what this is all about. So the nature of the anatomical relationships is something that we emphasize in Anatomyscapes, not just being able to name where things are, but how does it relate to its surrounding tissues? Also, what about fascia? How does fascia play into it? What about the embryology of the trapezius? Embryology is always really interesting. You tend to get insights when you understand how it was that you developed in utero. Like as the muscle system was growing, how did it divvy itself up? And where was it that it was originally joined to something or separated? And then how about the neurology and how it is that we move? Let's just see if we can cover all of these topics, starting with good fascia helps make good neighbors.